The earliest Bible translations into the Polish language date to the 13th century. The first full ones were completed in the 16th. Presently in Poland, the official and most popular Bible is the Millennium Bible, first published in 1965 for the millennium of the 966 C.E.Baptism of Poland, which approximates the beginnings of Poland's statehood. First translations. The history of Polish language translation of the Bible begins with the Psalter. The earliest recorded translations date to the 13th century, around 1280. However, none of these survive. The oldest surviving Polish translation of the Bible is the St. Florian Psalter, assumed to be a copy of the translation, itself a manuscript of the second half of the 14th century, in the Abbey of St. Florian, near Linz, in Latin, Polish and German. A critical edition of the Polish part of the St. Florian Psalter was published by Władysław Nering with a very instructive introduction. Slightly newer than the St. Florian Psalter is the pull-away Psalter dating from the end of the 15th century. There were also a 16th century translation of the New Testament and more fragmentary translations, none of which have been preserved in the full form to the present. Polish Bibles originated in the mid-15th century. An incomplete Bible, the Queen Sophia's Bible, contains Genesis, Joshua, Ruth, Kings, Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, 2 Esdras, Tobit, and Judah. With the Reformation, translation activity increased as the different confessions endeavored to supply their adherents with texts of the Bible. An effort to secure a Polish-language Bible for Lutherans was made by Duke Albert of Prussia in a letter directed in his name to Melanchthon. Brest Bible. Jan Seklichkin, preacher at Königsberg, was commissioned to prepare a translation, and he published the New Testament at Königsberg in 1551 and 1552. The Polish Reformed received the Bible through Prince Nicholas Radziwiłł. A company of Polish and foreign theologians and scholars undertook the task, and, after 6 years' labor at the Sarmatian Athens, at Pincha, not far from Kraków, finished the translation of the Bible, which was published at the expense of Radziwiłł in Brest-Litovsk, 1563. The translators state that for the Old Testament they consulted, besides the Hebrew text, the ancient versions and different modern Latin ones, Socinian versions. 2 years after the Brest Bible was completed, the Calvinist and radical wings of the Reformed Church split in 1565, and the Bible was suspect to both groups. The Calvinist Ecclesia Major suspected it of Arian interpretations. The radical Ecclesia Minor complained that it was not accurate enough. Simon Bunny, a Belarusian of the Judaizing wing of the Ecclesia Minor, especially charged against the Brest Bible that it was not prepared according to the original texts, but after the Vulgate and other modern versions, and that the translators cared more for elegant Polish than for a faithful rendering. He undertook a new rendering, and his translation was printed in 1572 at Nesvizh. As changes were introduced in the printing which were not approved by Bunny, he disclaimed the New Testament and published another edition, Zasloya, and then finally a third edition where he withdrew some of his Judaizing and Talmudic readings. The charges which he made against the Brest Bible were also made against his own and Bunny's former colleague Marcin Czechowicz of Lublin, who was concerned with Bunny's preference for Hebrew over Greek sources, published the Polish Brethren's own edition of the New Testament. The interesting preface states that Czechowicz endeavored to make an accurate translation, but did not suppress his Socinian ideas, e.g., he used immersion instead of baptism. A further truly Socinian Rakovian New Testament was published by Valentinus Malsius, a pupil of Fausto Sozzini. Gdansk Bible. The Brest Bible was superseded by the so-called Gdansk Bible, which finally became the Bible of all evangelical Poles. At the Synod in Ozarowice, 1600, a new edition of the Bible was proposed and the work was given to the Reformed minister Martin Janicki, who had already translated the Bible from the original texts. In 1603 the printing of this translation was decided upon, after the work had been carefully revised. The work of revision was entrusted to men of the Reformed and Lutheran confessions and members of the Moravian Church, especially to Daniel Mikołajewski, superintendent of the Reformed churches in Great Poland, and Jan Turnowski, senior of the Moravian Church in Great Poland. After it had been compared with the Janicki translation, the Brest, the Bohemian, Pagnini's Latin, and the Vulgate, the new rendering was ordered printed. The Janicki translation as such has not been printed, and it is difficult to state how much of it is contained in the new Bible. The New Testament was first published at Gdansk, 1606, and very often during the 16th and 17th centuries. The complete Bible was issued in 1632, and often since. The Gdansk Bible differs so much from that of Brest that it may be regarded as a new translation. It is erroneously called also the Bible of Paweł Paliris, but he had no part in the work. Jakub Wójcik's Bible. For the Roman Catholics the Bible was translated from the Vulgate by Jan Nicz of Lwow Kraków, 1561, 1574, and 1577. This Bible was superseded by the new translation of the Jesuit Jakub Wójcik that became known as the Jakub Wójcik Bible. Wójcik criticized the Leopolita and non-Catholic Bible versions and spoke very favorably of the Polish of the Brest Bible, but asserted that it was full of heresies and of errors in translation. The first copies of Wójcik's New Testament appeared in 1593, containing Wójcik's teachings and warnings regarding the Protestant versions. Czechowicz went into print with a booklet accusing Wójcik of plagiarism and following the Latin over the Greek. With the approbation of the Holy See, the New Testament was first published at Kraków, 1593, and the Old Testament in 1599, after Wójcik's death. This Bible has often been reprinted. Wójcik's translation follows, in the main, the Vulgate. Modern versions. Today the official and most popular Bible in Poland is the Millennium Bible, first published in 1965. Other popular Catholic translations include the Poznan Bible and Biblia Warszawsko-Praska. Polish Protestants had been widely using the Gdansk Bible until they prepared the modern translation, Warsaw Bible, in 1975. Jehovah's Witnesses have translated the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures into Polish as Przekład Nowego Wiata. In 2009, a grammatical update of the Gdansk Bible New Testament UW Spolczesniona Biblia Gdańska, containing cross-references, was published by the Foundation Rota Nadzieja in Torun. The translation and modernization of archaisms found in the Old Gdansk Bible was done by a team of born-again Polish and American Christians. Text examples.